I feel like it's my very own iron throne. It's made of wood, of course, not iron. That's a Game of Thrones reference, if you haven't seen it. And if you haven't seen it, what's wrong with you? Welcome to Wenham's Camp. What a spot. Beautiful, literal beautiful paddocks of area here to kick the footy or flip the frisbee with the kids. Just acres of space, all regenerating as it was once owned by, strangely enough, the Wenham family. They did hand the land back over to the government, who in their wisdom, with all this bush around it, just decided to make a campground from it. Spot on. Had a great time last night, went for a bit of spotlighting out here on the flats. Plenty of kangas about, of course. Enjoyed a bit of stargazing.
Crikey's, that's bright.
People talk about mindful meditation and such things, but meditation comes in all forms, and sitting by the campfire, staring into the flames and coals as it crumples back down into the ground, or lying back under a bed of stars, there's nothing too much more meditative than that in my mind. One thing I do know is I'm going to get hemorrhoids if I sit on this iron throne for any longer. So with that in mind, it's out with the beanie. I will get that one day. And in, you guessed it, with the Terry. Let's get amongst it. It's quite dry in here at the moment. But if there's one thing I know about humans versus Mother Nature, we humans play the short game. She's in it for the long game. So it'll bounce back eventually, but yeah, the undergrowth here is more reminiscent of summer right now rather than the heart of winter. Oop. Stay healthy, little grass trees. Steer clear of any hikers with pesky fungus on their boots that kill you from the roots up. Grow well. Would you have guessed? Here we are, Quat Lookout. Have to say I really enjoy this lookout. It's got 160-degree panorama views across bushland, regional roads, farmhouses. There's one just here with a pool. I wonder whether they've thought much about people bringing binoculars up here when you can see straight into the backyard and the pool. No skinny dipping, folks. And just the way in which this lookout presents, it's very much like the hang gliders ramp up on top of the Dandenong Ranges, where you have quite a steep gradient bordering on a cliff face just here at the edge of the rocks, meaning that you see the full scope of the landscape in front of you, from foreground, middle ground to background, across that 160-degree roughly panorama picture. Only about 1.5 kilometres into this walk so far, but I like its ruggedness. You've got she oaks in here, you've got ironbarks, and then you have the grass trees. And I find the grass tree endlessly fascinating. They tend to congregate in little tribes across the landscape, which is a shame in some ways, because that's, I guess, how the fungus gets around them so easily. The old quat. I like to say it, and I like to see it. Magnificent. Time for a boiled egg and soy sauce. Oh yeah. Gosh, think of all the people back in the 80s and early 90s who missed out on the sustenance of an egg because they thought the yoke gave you cholesterol. Jeez, poor buggers. Crikey, spiky, ow! Been having a cracking day. The senses have just been drinking in the surrounds. Loving the countryside here. Very quintessentially Australian. That's what I'd like to say about it. Now, before we move on from this point, we better contribute to the survey marker. Find myself a rock. Oh! There we go, just so people know I was here. Six eggs. Not quite sure whether that was enough. Might have to go to 8 next time. It is a bit devastating once you get around the tracks up here in the Warby Ranges, just how devastating the Phytophthora cinnamomum has been, the fungal disease. You don't know how many times I've practiced that before I said it. That is getting around here and other parts of Victoria, but it's very prevalent here. There's been a bit of a temptation from myself to get in amongst some of the grass trees that are a bit off the track. But I'm really glad I haven't, because when you walk for long enough on the trails here, you get many opportunities to be up close and personal to the grass trees, because they are literally right next to the track. I can see little juvenile grass tree plants trying to sprout through here. Unfortunately, they'll meet the same demise as these couple of mature grass trees that have toppled over. You can see here just complete mottled orange and brown and red mess left behind by a once healthy grass tree. Such a shame, and as I've said previously, I hope they can find a cure for it at some stage to prevent it from washing further through the population here. Maggie, if you're watching, lovely to meet you, and thanks for all the tips. I can't wait to check out Panorang, Pine Gully Falls and Barry Falls over in Beechworth. Pine Gully especially. That sounds a cracker for the family, so I'll get back there at some point down the track. Nice to learn about the little connection back at Warrandyte, and give us a shout out if you ever manage to pick up this video. This is Paul Simon inspiration, because it's the sound of silence. I think this is the spot, Maggie, the one you were talking about, where there's no audio whatsoever. Probably on account of the landmass around me here. We're in a bit of a concave bowl. The landscape in all directions curves upward from this point, naturally creating a little bit of an amphitheatre here where the sound is liable to bounce around, but external sound is not likely to drift in. I think that makes scientific sense. When I said the grass trees literally snuggling up against the trail, I wasn't kidding. Here's another example. Surprised they're still standing with all this fungus getting about. It's hard to put a finger on it, but something about the landscape indicates to me that there's not going to be a cracker going over Salisbury Falls. Well, them's the brakes. Once a jolly swagman walked by a billabong under the shade of a box gum tree. You can see old Banjo Patterson in a place reminiscent of this, dreaming up the words to the legend which became Waltzing Matilda. I'm probably about 600 metres shy of reaching Salisbury Falls down by the road, but I've chosen not to go there, and the reason for that is I've run out of time, primarily, and secondly, I feel like this is such a great spot to end the walk. All in all, this walk has been incredible. 9 out of 10 terries. I take 1 terry off because probably a little bit for the fact that I think 10, it's not perfect at that rating, but it needs to be something absolutely spectacular out of this world. And I don't feel like it has the edge for that, but it's an incredible walk. I'm not likely to forget this walk for a long time to come, and particularly this moment where I rounded a bend in the mid-reaches of the trail back up here. There was a definite increase in the number of bird life there, and right there in that moment, literally about 3 to 5 meters away, which is incredibly close for this type of bird, there was a red-breasted robin sitting up on the point of a jagged tree stump. Now, this was National Geographic photo quality, ready to be captured. Just everything was in good relativity to the bird, you know, the trees behind, framing the situation up far enough away to get good bokeh on the photo, i.e. the out of focus area behind the actual focused area. And the red-breasted robin just taunted me, almost pumping the chest. It sat there for such a long time that I actually started to get confident I could remove the camera from the tripod, press up by another metre or two with my 16 to 35mm wide-angle lens and get close enough for a bit of detail on the red-breasted robin. But, of course, as naturally happens in these situations, the tripod was put down on the ground, camera removed, and bye-bye Tweety bird. It was gone by the time I looked up. Anyway, you can't have it all your own way. Sometimes you've just got to love that you were there to witness it, and I'm trying very hard to process that scene in my mind like that. Still, I'd trade it all for that bloody photo. Until next time, get Terry and get outdoors.